Yo, all right, here we go. First episode ever of this podcast. Um, well, I can't believe I'm about to do this, but hey, let's get the show on the road. So, welcome, you guys. Welcome to the first ever episode of this brand new podcast called "You Live, You Learn." You live, you learn. Yeah, you know. Um, so this is gonna. I don't even know how to start, man. um, this is crazy. Originally, this podcast was gonna be me and a couple of two other friends, but I didn't really know how this podcast was gonna go. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this by myself. See how I feel about it, and if after the first episode I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this no more, then maybe I could do something else. Um, but yeah, first episode, and it's just crazy. It's crazy. There's a lot of things that did. I've been distracted lately. That's why I haven't been posted. I haven't done anything really. Just kind of been doing my own thing. With school, baseball, and now that I'm going back to school, which is why I'm trying to. I'm actually recording this. I believe today is the. Hold on, let me check the date real quick. Today is the 6th of August. So, and I actually enter school on the 11th. So, my goal is to try to send this out, edit this, and post it before the my first day of school, and hopefully that way, I at least have one episode and I at least give the podcast a try. So, but yeah, without further ado, let's dive right in. And wow, boy, is this weird, Um, making a podcast, I'm gonna be honest, it's not that simple. There's a lot of things, a lot of little things that go into place, like your equipment, the audio that you use, like where you're gonna edit your audio, and then whether or not you want to have like a webcam or face cam or whatever, where you're gonna post it. All these things, they come into a podcast, and boy, let me tell you that it's not as it may seem simple, but it really isn't. Like it takes, and I think the most important part about a podcast is, oh, excuse me. I think the most important about doing a podcast is commitment, obviously, and time management, time schedule. It's not one of my best features. I'm gonna be honest. Time management is not one of my best features, and starting to create a schedule, I feel like all that I have to learn, I have to grow upon, and it's not easy. It's not easy. I'll say that. Pretty much, the thought of doing a podcast, it occurred to me after a quick saying. I'll tell you guys the reason right now why I started this podcast. So the other day, I actually was playing on the PlayStation with my two buddies that I was gonna actually do this podcast with. I won't mention their names. We were having a deep discussion. A deep discussion. I think we were talking about how depression has taken more impact on a lot of kids these days, especially due to the pandemic because of COVID-19, and how people, a lot of people are trying to commit suicide, and things like that. All these bad little things that we were talking about the world, and how racism came into play, and all these little things. We were having a deep discussion, and I was sharing my opinion with them. Obviously, I was saying like, oh yeah, I hate how all these bad things have taken really most of the control of our lives, of this world, and I don't like it, man. It just makes me sad, and especially when it comes to like suicide or depression. I feel like I just don't like it. I hate that it's a thing in this world, Especially because most people who do it, they always think that they're alone. Boy, it sucks, It sucks. I don't like it. I don't like it. Um, and then as we were talking, me and my boys, we were one of my friend, he said, yeah, you make a lot of mistakes, but that's how you live and that's how you learn. And then that little saying, you live, you learn, that just hit me. It hit me because, right, so I'm 15. I'm 15 years old. So, like, I was always raised in a good manner, obviously, in a good way. I was raised well. But me personally, as I kept growing up, I made a lot of mistakes, and I made a lot of, I hanged out with the wrong people, and I did all these little things, and I think all these mistakes that I've done in my past, I connected to what the saying was. So you live, you learn. I really connected to that, and and I don't know, it popped up in my head that I was like, what if we created a podcast? What if we named it "You Live, You Learn," right? And maybe in about, I don't know, a few years something, or in a couple months, it might even become huge. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know. It was my idea, honestly. It was my idea to start the podcast. I just, I don't know why. It was just, after the discussion that me and my boys had on the PlayStation, I had a deep desire to like share my my opinions, share my voice. You know, try to motivate others to do what they want to do. You know, whatever that inspires them. You know, to put out the content that they want to make, or you know, anything like that, really. And like especially me, you know, like I said, I made poor choices in my life. I'm not gonna lie. I made a lot of poor choices, and a lot of those choices, you know, I regret to this day. But I think the most important thing that I took from them is that the fact that I was able to continue to live, and I learned from them. You know, so and I continue to learn. I continue to progress. I continue to mature more and more each and every day. And I'm only 15. I'm only 15, so I still got much more to learn, and it's just crazy, man. But I feel like another reason why I wanted to start this podcast, and I feel like it's a good way. One of the reasons why I wanted to start this podcast was mainly because I'm a teenager. I'm 15, right? So even though I have much more to learn, and I know that it's best to make podcasts when you're like, I don't know, um, maybe when you're in your early 20s, or you know, after you graduated from high school or whatever, you know, because I still have much more to discuss, and I still have much more, you know, to uh, to share on a podcast, you know, much more experience, and and um and I just feel like maybe if I start now, it's like making vlogs pretty much from 15 to whenever I stop. But in which case I'm making podcasts, and especially now, right now in teenage, there's a lot of drama, you know, especially with this world, you know, politics and YouTube, you know, just a whole bunch of drama right now, and I feel like it's cool to share your opinion, even though others may have your own. But it's dope because like you come onto your own podcast or wherever whatever you may be doing, and it's so cool to share and have feedback, whether it's negative or positive. I feel like especially negative feedback, like whenever you share your opinion on a podcast, like negative feedback, I feel like it's like honestly the best thing because you learn from it. You learn from it, and you pretty much progress. You know what I'm saying? You pretty much learn from it, and it gives you brand new ideas, brand new topics, brand new, you know, this and that. So I feel like that's also another reason why I wanted to start a podcast. But like I did say though, I mean, I think the thing is, okay, before I started this episode, before I started recording, my original plan for this podcast was to share it with, like I said, to share it with two other friends, right? Now I think the problem that I had, um, how we were gonna able to record it together, right? Because I mean, we can't go from, you know, how what place are we gonna gather around, right? And I think the more I thought about it, the more I was like, maybe I should just do this by myself, you know, see, because like I said, it was my idea, and the last thing I want is to completely change my mind about this whole podcast and be like, oh, I don't want to do this no more, or completely abandon it. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that I dragged these two kids, these two teenagers, that I dragged them with me, and I just gave up on this whole podcast, and I dragged them with me for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, and including like I said, I'm not gonna mention their names, but one of them did say that they had a couple of friends who actually did podcasts, but he never really considered of doing a podcast himself. He says he doesn't like to. He likes to put out his opinion, but he just never really thought about it. So I guess it's something that he didn't really want, and which it's totally fine by me. I didn't want to force him, so I was like, you know what, it's fine. I completely get it. So but yeah, that's why I'm doing this by myself. At least maybe just for today. maybe just for today, maybe in the future, I mean, my goal is my goal is for this podcast in like what 5 to 10 years maybe, that I see this podcast, hopefully if I continue to do this, is that in 5 to 10 years I hope that this podcast will at least get big or in some way, um like, and just expand bigger, and hopefully someday, maybe have like special guest stars, and maybe hopefully having more people sharing this podcast with me. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty much what I see. That's my goal for 5 to 10 years for this podcast. And just the fact that like, you just having someone here, I feel like it's always cool to have someone here, when you're doing a podcast. And that's why normally I think a lot of people would say the same, that I think when it comes to making a podcast, they would recommend doing it with at least one other person or two other people. So pretty much, when it comes to doing a podcast, I feel like you have a commitment. I feel like commitment is the number one thing, right? Commitment is the number one thing. You have to commit, and in anything, you have to commit to anything. I feel like when it comes to anything, like any like whether you're making YouTube videos, whether you want to play sports, I think commitment is the most important thing that I feel like we all should learn. And especially me, like, I'm still learning how to commit to things and focusing on one thing at a time. Like me, I want to become not an entertainer, more like an influencer, I guess you could say, an influencer. I mean, because I wanna motivate people. I wanna impact the world. I wanna make an impact on at least one person. It doesn't matter if you know me or not. I just want to impact on one person, because I don't want to die tomorrow knowing that I didn't make an impact, or I didn't do anything with my life. So I feel like that's my fear. I feel like when it comes to living, when it comes to doing anything really, I just want to impact the person, impact someone, no matter if I know them or not, whatever, if it's just a random stranger, whatever, it's like someone across the world, as someone that I don't even understand, like I don't understand the same language. I just want to make an impact. I want like even a little bit part of the world can know me, and that's all I need. That's all I need. I'm not asking for a lot. I'm just asking that you share this podcast, and that hopefully someone out of this country, someone out of the state knows who I am, and knows of me, and knows the work that I do, knows that I am a good person, and most importantly, I'm a good person. So, but yeah, I feel like that's my fear when it comes to living. And just like, it's really, I don't know, for me it's strange, because it used to be, my fear used to be spiders. I mean, it still is, but like, I mean, it's not a huge fear. I'm afraid of heights, I guess. And I guess now would be making an impact. But I found out that there's really nothing to fear about in life. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing to really fear. I feel like in life, you have to go full on everything. You have to do everything. You have to do whatever it takes, or not necessarily whatever it takes, but you have to pretty much commit to one thing, and don't care about what people think about what you're doing. So for example, me doing a podcast, right? At first I was having second thoughts. I was like, what if people don't like it? What if I'm doing this all wrong? What if I don't become big in 5 to 10 years? All these little overthinking stuff. I feel like it was like anxiety taking over me in a way, because to overthink things is another expression of anxiety. Not huge, but it's another expression of anxiety, and I feel like that part of anxiety is taking really a big toll on my life. Like a lot of a lot of kids nowadays, they have that same fear of doing things. Like, oh, what if I get bullied because of this, or what? Like it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what people think of you. Like you should be able to do something without having to care what people think. So that's why I also got the idea of doing a podcast. Like, it's something that I've never really thought of doing until the other day that I was talking with my friends, and the saying, "You live, you learn." So, and like, it just gave me the idea that maybe, because I enjoy talking. I actually enjoy talking to them. I like having deep discussions, and like whatever it may be, whatever it's me giving advice, because I'm actually known for giving people advice. I mean, maybe not the best, but I do give good advice. I like to motivate people. I like to let people know that they're not alone. So, which is why I actually wanted to start this podcast, because I feel like it's a good way. I feel like it's a good way for me to share that, not just with the people that I connect with in school, but to share that with the world, because I feel like nowadays this world is getting worse and worse and worse, and I feel like it's just getting, like, little by little, it's getting really, really bad. And like, with racism, depression, suicide, drugs, alcohol, like, all these terrible, terrible things that were planted in our world today is like getting bigger and bigger and bigger as more generations come. So, like, for example, a lot of kids nowadays, and I realized this, a lot of kids nowadays, like, from the ages, I'd say, um, like, little kids, like, they see bad things, especially now on the internet, because I know there's a lot of bad, not bad people, but people who, like, tend to cuss, who tend to do terrible things, show terrible things, and they don't realize that there's little kids watching them. Like, a little kid could just be on YouTube casually, watching, I don't know, learning his ABCs on the YouTube, and your feed, you're like, whatever you may be doing, like, whatever, like, it is, like, I don't know, where you're live streaming or whatever, or whatever, the kid watching his ABCs and, living a perfectly normal life, could click on your video, maybe not on purpose or an accident or whatever, but he potentially, it's being attracted to it, and it could click on your video, and literally, he's being, or he or she, whatever, he's being exposed to the negativity that is part of this world, like cussing, drugs. Like, I'm not saying you can't cuss, or I'm not saying you can't do drugs. Like, obviously, like, it's your choice, but, like, I feel like, just watch what you do. Like, a lot of people need to watch what they do, and watch how they do this, because because you have to think about, not just for older children, but especially young children, especially nowadays, because YouTube is becoming a really big thing, or Spotify, or whatever it may be. Especially YouTube is really becoming a big thing, and it's becoming a big part of a lot of kids, especially kids nowadays, a part of their lives. And I feel like us old, like, whether you're millennials, whether you're Generation X, like, I feel like a lot of us now, we should start to be more cautious of the things that we do. Like, you could do whatever you want. You could do drugs, you can do alcohol, whatever. Just watch out with who you do it, and where you do it, and where you post it, because a lot of kids are hopping onto YouTube now, and they're literally looking at other people, whether they be cussing, whether they be, doing this and that, especially when it comes to, like, video games. Like, I'm just saying, it's, like I said, it's my opinion. I feel like just a lot of us have to be more cautious now. A lot of people have to be, more careful with the things that they do and the things that they say, because, there's more and more kids coming into our lives each and every day, and they're, starting to become part of this, community of ours. So, just really, what I'm saying is, just be cautious. Be cautious of the things. But anyway, moving on. Let's move on to the next topic, which brings me actually to my next topic, is becoming an influencer. Whether it's posting on YouTube, whether it's doing, posting music, whatever. I feel like nowadays is like, maybe like, for me especially, right? I'm a 15-year-old kid who has the precise equipment, maybe not the best, but who has the precise equipment to start a podcast, to make YouTube videos, to, I don't know, become famous by doing sports, or, whatever it may be, doing music. I feel like nowadays it's easier to become famous too. Like, I feel like kids kids nowadays, they could easily become famous because there's a lot of influencers now. Like there's a lot of people who inspire others. Like for me personally, the people that inspire me are the people that are do good deeds and in their own special way. Like even artists, dude, even artists, like even artists, I see them, they they inspire people, not just by music, like not just by the lyrics, not what they sing, but like whenever they do like podcast interviews, or they're just doing regular interviews with some I don't know, news reporter or something. Like they always tend to sneak in like deep things, and it always inspires me. Like it boosts up my confidence. Like, wow, maybe I should start taking this thing seriously, or maybe I should start doing this more, or maybe I should start doing that more. And so that's what I'm saying. So there's a lot of influencers. So kids nowadays, it's easier for them to get famous. Like for me right now, I could possibly get famous just by talking about this, and I would never know, or like it'd be I can't say, because okay, for example, millennials, like influencers now, they had a tough time. Like I understand because I've actually seen it. I seen it myself. My parents actually told me about this. I seen it myself. Where influencers nowadays, they had to struggle, like actually struggle. Like for example, Snoop Dogg. Dude, Snoop Dogg had to, I think if I remember correctly, I heard that Snoop Dogg had to like sell candy or whatever, or like earn money. Like he had to work hard. He literally had to had a job. I think by the age of, I don't know, 8, I think it was, or something. I don't know, but from what I understood is that Snoop Dogg literally had to fight his way to get to where he is today, right? And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like it's I just learned this, I think last year, maybe. I think so, or maybe this year. I don't know, but I just found this out, and I never knew it. And I'm a fan of Snoop Dogg, but I'm not a huge fan, to the point where I have to like look up his past life and things like that. Like I like his music. He's a really good artist, and I believe he even became a producer, right? Like I said, not a huge. I mean, I'm a fan, but not like a mega fan. I'm a fan of Snoop Dogg. I really love Snoop Dogg. If anybody famous out there is listening, if anybody is paying attention to what I'm saying, I could really use a special guest star, in a few days or something. I don't know. Anyways, we're moving on. So back to the point where kids nowadays, it's easier to get famous. Like for me, I could get easy by, if I keep doing this, if I keep creating like episodes for this podcast, I feel like it's easier now to become famous. Because like there's a lot of influencers who show how they do things, and like now kids understand what they got to do, what they have to buy. Like before, like influencers now, they didn't know what to get, they didn't know how to do this, they didn't know how to do that, they didn't know what they were going to do, right? Until they actually became creative, and picked up a camera or whatever, or picked up an instrument or whatever, picked up a basketball, baseball, whatever, and they did what they loved to do, and they committed. That's what I'm saying. It brings me back to commitment. Commitment is very important. They committed to the things they wanted to do, and they didn't care about what people thought about them. They didn't care what people thought, or what they did, or how people were going to react to it, whether they liked it or not. They just continued to do what they want, and eventually people started to come around, and eventually people started to like the thing that these influencers actually did, you know. So it's amazing. It's amazing how influencers today it come up now. But nowadays it's easier. It's easier, way easier to get famous, because now we know what to do. Now we know how to avoid that. Now we know how to actually do things, and I think now, but our only problem is whether or not we're gonna commit, whether or not we're actually gonna do this. And which actually leads me into a quote. So the other day I was actually listening to another podcast, and I was actually listening to their podcast, and they were doing, it was this interview with DJ Scheme. But it's something in that interview he had said which really, really, really inspired me, which I'll share with you guys right now. He said, "There's more opportunity for kids these days. Back then there wasn't no SoundCloud or Spotify. In order for me to share my music, I literally had to hand out CDs. Now with all this internet and influencers, to be a kid, like, you gotta be more outgoing as a kid, and that's exactly what he said, and which I totally like. I totally agree, and like I understand that influencers like today's, they had to literally like struggle and fight for and share in any way, like share CDs, share I don't know, videos of them playing sports or doing this and that. Like I feel like they had to like really get out there, and but now kids, now they're becoming more out there because now it's more easier for them to get to the top. It's really cool that he said that because DJ Scheme is a really big influencer. A lot of people know him, especially nowadays. So I feel like it's a good thing he said that, and a good thing that he put that out. He's a really cool guy. I feel like he's a dude that I think inspires me too, because I know he actually struggled too. That's what I'm saying. I like influencers like that who share their life stories, who share like the things they want to do, and they share like insane things like they've lived, and they made it to the top, and like to the point where they could just relax, man. They could just chill and vibe out. So it's cool. It's cool, man. I like people like that. Then hopefully I can get maybe, like I said, in a few months, if this podcast becomes big, I hopefully could get, I don't know, some special star. Maybe get my buddies back. We could actually have a real conversation. I don't know. We could all be here side to side. We could all be here having a better conversation than what I'm having now. We could make this podcast even more interesting. Like I said, it's all just a big grand idea. I think the only problem with us is commitment. We just gotta commit, and then time management, because like I said, all of us are coming back. All of us are going back to school, so it's gonna be more difficult and it's gonna be more hard. So I mean, yeah, I think time management is gonna be really hard for us. But hey, I'm willing to do whatever I can do. Try to edit this out. Hopefully, post it on. Hopefully, I could post this out before I go back to school. Edit this, and it'll be cool. So but yeah, welcome to the new podcast. Welcome. I think I'm gonna start wrapping it up. So I've explained my goals for this podcast, where I want it to be and what I see in 5 to 10 years. Let's see, did I miss anything? Look at my notes, make sure. I think, okay, here's actually something that I missed. So there's gonna be a lot of struggles, right, when it comes to creating a podcast or doing whatever. There's struggles, part of life, and I think if you're struggling with anything like in life, just know that you don't have to go through it alone. Like, know that there's others to help you with. Like, if you gotta ask questions about a certain thing, like you have your family, friends, and even if you don't have nobody, you could always just reach out to somebody. Even if you guys like are on bad terms, like okay, I'm gonna give you a situation. I'm gonna give you a role play. So let's say some, like a guy, he's having a hard time. He doesn't know what to do with his life. He likes to do sports, but he just doesn't know how to get into it. He doesn't know, he's struggling. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. He thinks that he doesn't know how to ask his family. He doesn't know how to his friends. I think asking for help in any situation, like whatever it may be, whatever you're struggling with, is very, very important. Like, know that you're not doing this alone. Know that you've got people to help you, whether it's friends, family, even strangers. You can tell a stranger what you're going through. Like, dude, you don't have to go through any of this stuff alone. You're not alone. Like, I'm a religious person, all right? And I'm not gonna share, I'm not gonna be all religious and everything, because I know there's a lot of people listening that may not be religious. But anyways, I feel like God, he made people, like good people in this world. He made good people, and he made these people so that they can actually listen to your problems, so you can rant at them. You could literally explain to them what you're going through, what your struggles are. Like, there's literally therapists, doctors, there's nurses, there's chiropractors. There's all these people that have designated their lives to to help you, and you're not even asking them for help. Like, what's the point of their taking their jobs, like becoming a doctor or a nurse or a chiropractor, if you're not even gonna go ask for help? You're not even gonna go tell them what your problems are, what your pain is, what all these little things, all these bad things. Like, it brings me back to talking about the bad things that are happening in this world. Like, know that you are not alone. Know that, like, this is very, it touches me because I've actually, like, even like the fact that I'm 15, I've known quite a lot of people that have gone through depression, that I've taken pills, do drugs and all this stuff, and it's not nice. It's not nice. I don't like it, but I feel like it's important for them to know. Like, if you're watching this video right now, if you're listening to this podcast and you're going through struggles, you're going through whatever it may be, know that you are not alone. Like, dude, you could even, or whoever, dude, girl, whatever, you could even reach out to me personally. Like, you can DM me or whatever, and I'll try to help you in any manner, in any way that even just the slightest thing. Like, I could give, like I said, I give good advice. I like to help out people. I feel like that's a lot. That's a lot of needing in this world, helping out others. That's like that's something we really need right now, especially with this pandemic that's been going through. Us being alone in our homes, and whether or not having a family, being someone with. I feel like that's really important. And I know a lot of people lost their lives due to the pandemic, due to COVID. But know that you're not going through this alone. Know that you got people, like strangers, I don't know, family, friends. You have people to talk to therapists, doctors. You have so many people to talk to. You're not going through this alone. Trust me, you're not. Oh man, I'm so glad I got that out of my system. um, but yeah, know that you're not going through this alone, and you know, at the end of the day, we're all living on the same earth. We're all living on the same earth. So let's treat this earth. Let's treat this earth with respect, because I believe, if I remember, not too long ago, we were told that that if we can, that I think global warming was gonna take over the world or something. That global warming was gonna, I don't know, burn the world or something. I don't remember, but if that's the case, then we gotta act now. We gotta stop all this violence, stop all this hatred towards against each other. But when it comes to violence, hatred, and all these bad things, I feel like we gotta knock it off and, like, come together as one, because this earth, like, in general, needs a lot of work. That's for sure. Like, dude, there's bunch of land fillings, and that's taking over the seas. There's a bunch of animals becoming now extinct. And I feel like we just gotta come together, and we gotta do something, man. I feel like that's my opinion. Like, we could still continue to do, whatever it is we want, make music, make all that stuff. But at some point, we're going to have to come together and, save this world, because or else there's not going to be a world to save. There's not going to be a world to live on. I don't know. But anyways, I think I'm going to start wrapping it up again. I know I said that earlier, but I'm going to start wrapping it up. So real quick before I go, I think I want to let you guys know what my schedule is for this podcast. I think what it's going to be, try to at least upload two episodes a month, maybe, if that's possible. I feel like it is. Especially with back to school. I don't know. I think it's possible. I'm going to try to at least upload 2 episodes a month. I think I'm gonna try to. I'm not sure what days I will be posting though. I think I'm gonna try to be post, like, maybe on the weekends, maybe on the weekdays. I don't know, depending on whenever I have time. But yeah, I feel like that's gonna be the schedule for this podcast. I think that's what I want to do. I think that's what I'm gonna try to commit. Commit's a big word now in this podcast. I'm gonna try to commit to that, and hopefully, like I said, in 5 to 10 years, if I continue to do this and if I continue to love this, that hopefully this thing will become, my podcast will become big, and a lot of people will hear about it. yes, please share the message. Share this podcast to whoever, family, friends. I don't know, anybody, to a random stranger. Let them know that maybe they should. Maybe you could literally change a stranger's lives by telling them that I made a podcast and I'm becoming inspirational, and you should listen to what he has to say at least. At least listen to the first 5 minutes, and you don't have to listen to the rest, and that's completely fine. Completely normal. So yeah, that could literally change someone's life. So which is why I wanted to do this podcast. But yeah, that's my future. That's my goal for this podcast, and um, that's my dream. My dream is to hopefully change someone's life for the better. Hopefully, making a huge impact, whatever it may be. Hopefully, you guys listen to this podcast. If you did listen to this podcast all the way, I want to thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for staying tuned. You guys are the real ones. And like I said, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to turn on those post notifications. I thank you guys so much for everything. And just go out there and make a difference, man. No matter what it may be, whatever it may be, go make a difference. Whether you're doing sports, whether you're doing podcasting, whether you're doing this and that. I feel like it's very, very, very important to be outgoing. Be outgoing, man. Go change someone's lives, and remember, you take 2 O's and you turn that into a W. That's how you live and you learn. Woo! I'm about to put that on a t-shirt. I'm about to put that on a t-shirt. But yeah, all right. I think that's gonna be it for this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to share your friends. Tell your friends about these podcasts. Like I said, I'm gonna try to be uploading at least 2 episodes a month. And yeah, thank you so much for listening, man. Go make a difference. Go do something. And I'm gonna go take a nap because I'm recording this early. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.